Discord has 3 new music activities which are meant to replace music bots. We have tune-in, Trebel, and Rythm. Yes, Rythm came back from the dead. Now, I'm going to compare all 3 of these activities, their features, their music selection, and most importantly, their sound quality, because one of them sounds absolutely horrendous. Now, just as a quick forced history lesson, if you don't know how Rythm was dead, basically back in 2021, Discord was the Wild West of music bots. We had bots like Groovy and Rythm, which were extremely popular, and what they allowed you to do is play music on your Discord server. If the song existed, the bot could play it completely for free. But since you could play music for free, it meant that someone didn't get paid, and that's where people get angry. Because usually what Rythm and Groovy would do is they would take music off of YouTube without any ads. And as someone that makes content on YouTube, if people don't get YouTube ads, I don't pay my rent. All that sums up to YouTube forcing Rythm and the Groovy bot to go offline. But since the 2 biggest Discord music bots got shut down, things were pretty grim. Although you could make your own music bot and break the rules if you want by following this oh so convenient tutorial. Anyways, your history lesson is over because it turns out Discord made a tweet a couple days ago talking about their tune-in radio activity where you could listen to podcasts, music, news, and sports, all on the platform we know and love and hate. It's an abusive relationship with Discord. Anyways, since it's my job to know everything about Discord, I decided to go and try out this activity to see if it's even worth talking about. Now, at this point, I had no idea about the other activities, but fortunately for me, I got a little sidetracked and started scrolling, and that's where I found out about Trebel. And if you scroll down to the very bottom, Discord, this is a hint, please add a search function, but at the very bottom, there was Rythm, and also Farmville on Discord. We have Farmville on Discord before GTA 6. But anyways, let's start off with Trebel music. Now, when you start the Trebel activity, it will ask you to authorize the activity, but the developer may show ads while you use this application, and I wonder how long it's going to take for that to happen. Well, it didn't take long. We have a big banner ad at the very top. Now, this UI of Trebel is exactly like every other music app. You have trending music, popular artists, new releases, and then you have recommended playlists depending on your mood. You have top gaming tracks, hip-hop gaming, and the most important, Fortnite songs. Now, if we look at the trending now music, there is the Skibbity song, but you'll notice that there's more songs that I should be able to look at, and if you try like clicking and trying to move this thing as a slider, it doesn't work. In fact, the only way to scroll to the right is to use your middle mouse button and like move it to the right, but sometimes it doesn't work. You need to place it in the perfect spot, which is underneath what you're trying to scroll, and then you can use the middle mouse wheel to move it. Yeah, this thing is really awful to use sometimes. Now, if I wanted to play the Skibbity song, which I will click on play, and since I have no rights to the music, we will be muting it, but when you have a song playing on the left here, you will notice another ad, but this is your typical player. You can turn on repeat, play, pause, next song, shuffle, volume, and this is a QR button to download their app. I know, it's not some crazy new feature. Now, when you add multiple songs, it adds the songs to the queue where you can manage and you can see who added the song, because yes, right now it says you are hosting, but you can turn on this toggle to allow everyone in your activity to edit the queue, which means all of your friends can contribute to the queue and you can all listen to the same song. Now, there's also this AI thing of suggesting similar songs, and from my experience, it's not good at all. But no text-to-speech. I don't listen to Skibbity Toilet or Billie Eilish. Is my favorite music going to be on Trebel? Well, it turns out Trebel's song selection is actually really impressive, with an asterisk. But my music selection is a little bit out there. It's not mainstream at all. And you'll notice when I search for this artist, there's a whole bunch of search suggestions. Like, a song called Flares. When I click on this search, there's no results. Why even suggest this search result if you don't even have the song? So for smaller artists, you might get a couple of their songs, but you might not get the whole entire playlist, and it's usually their older music, not things that are super up to date. But as you start moving up to more medium popularity artists, that's when you start getting a lot more availability. This artist, for example, on Spotify gets 877,000 monthly listeners, and I believe almost all of their music is on Trebel, including their most recent album with all the songs. So if you listen to artists that are around that popularity, all your music should be covered. And it should go without saying, if you're a mainstream person that listens to Aviation Fanatic, Tay-Tay 737, or Diddler Drake, your music selection should be covered. If you listen to any artist that has any sort of remix, this app is absolutely awful. This is one song, and 6 of these songs have exactly the same name. 5 of them are remixes, 1 of them aren't. Which one is some weird remix you don't want to listen to, and which one is the normal song? You can't tell. Now let's get to the moment you've all been waiting for. How is the sound quality? And also keep in mind, YouTube compression will kind of like ruin the comparison a little bit, but let's listen to this song on Trebel. Yeah, hopefully I did a pretty good job at making it clear. It sounds like hot garbage. Like when I listen to music that I'm familiar with, it sounds like the notes are wrong. It sounds like they're playing like a version that, like a wish.com version of the song. It's that bad. However, if you turn down the volume where it's just background music, if you're playing a game and it's not something you're actively listening to, it's usable. Now, next up is the rhythm activity, which is more promising in some areas and very disappointing in others. So when you open up Rythm, you can click on Get Started, and it's actually going to, well, first you gotta sign the terms and conditions, sign your life away. If you're a legal nerd, feel free to read it. There's some weird stuff in there. But when you click on Continue, Rythm is gonna try and hold your hand to get you used to the app. The main thing, though, that catches my eye is that you can listen for free or go premium to control the music. There's gonna be our first con, but here's our first major big accomplishment. It's the fact that Rythm is now fully licensed and compensates artists for every stream. Rythm beforehand would just take music off of YouTube and those artists wouldn't get paid. And we'll get into the differences of premium members versus free members in a little bit, but mainly it's the fact that you can actually pick songs to play with premium for $5 a month. But if you go with the free accounts, then you are stuck listening to radio stations. Now, unfortunately for me, I already did spend my $5 to make this video, so I do have premium. But first, how does Rythm work if you are a free user? Well, you can add music, but you can't add what you want. You can only add music that is in the radio tab. Now, they have lo-fi, top hits, gaming, K-pop. It's not awful, but if you have a specific music taste, these stations aren't impressive in my opinion. Overall, they have a pretty okay selection of music. Everyone should find something that they're okay with listening to. Let's say we want to listen to piano music and we start the radio. Well, first I'm gonna have to mute it right away. But this is how it looks when a song is playing from a radio. You can heart the song if you want. You can't change the song because it's a radio. You have no choice. But we have a couple of settings that we can pick. It allows you to turn on a visualizer to see how the music looks. All right, we're on EDM now, so when I crank up the volume, I can't concentrate when music is playing, but when I crank up the volume, you can see that we have an equalizer, and you can change how it looks depending on what you want. And it turns out you actually do have a very basic equalizer, but there's also a setting for explicit content, and if you read the terms of service, it basically says, this might not work, you can't sue us if it doesn't. What I want to point out is that if you do select music, again, you have controls on who can add music and who can control it. Here's the thing. The music selection of Rythm is not good, in my opinion. If I click on Add Music, and I search for those old songs that I looked for on Trebel, we have a couple of songs, 4 out of however many this person's made. If I search for this artist here, a lot of his music is missing. You'll also notice that, like, there's no, like, artist page. If I, like, click on the song, I don't get to see the artist. It's just, you search for the song, and good luck, try to find it in this big list. I'm not impressed whatsoever. If we compare Rythm to Spotify, there is a less than a third of my songs that I listen to on Rythm compared to Spotify. Premium is $5, Spotify is $10. So I have a third of my songs for half the price. The math is not mathing. Now, while this music is playing, let's talk about sound quality. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't find a song that I could actually use on YouTube to compare to. Again, the song selection is not very good. So you're gonna have to trust what I say verbally in terms of sound quality. It sounds good enough where you're not missing anything, but if you're a hardcore audiophile and you listen to lossless music, you might notice a difference with your favorite songs. It turns out there is a solo listening limit. You can listen to music by yourself for only a certain amount of time, and then it pauses. And just a reminder, I paid $5, and I still can't listen to music by myself. Now, I went into the Rythm Discord server to see if this was a bug, and I looked in their FAQ channel. It turns out it's not a bug. Can I listen alone? Well, Rythm was designed to bridge the gap for online music listening with your friends and requires at least 2 users in a session. While there are many ways to listen by yourself online, there isn't a great way to listen to music with others. None of this answers my question. But the reason why you can't listen alone is apparently the fact that group listening also enables Rythm to be cheaper than other streaming services. So if you're thinking about using Rythm and buying premium, don't think of it as like, oh, this is an alternative to Spotify. It's not. Think of this as a $5 a month Discord bot that allows you to listen to some music with your friends. Honestly, in terms of listening to music, I would probably use the ad-supported Trebel instead. Now let's move on to the last activity, tune in. And let me tell you, this thing is beautiful. It's like the only activity I actually see myself myself using with my friends. And the reason why is because TuneIn's a little bit different. It's not really a music app. It's more of a radio station and a podcast thing. Like, if you try searching for a song, you'll notice that you don't get like Drake's specific song. In fact, you just get today's top hits. These are all radio stations. And to be honest, going through these radio stations and listening to them is kind of fun. But where TuneIn really makes a difference is in the Explorer page. Because here's the thing, you get a map of a whole bunch of radio stations across the world. This thing is actually phenomenal. Now, if you've never been on a road trip where you turn on the radio onto like weird radio stations, you're missing out. But this is exactly like this, but you could do it in Discord. And I love it. Like, for example, you could go into America and see what those Texans are talking about. Never mind, this content is unavailable in your location. Also okay, let's try again.
This stream is not compatible with this player.
All right, not this one. Let's try this one.
This stream is not
All right, not this one. Let's try this one. I feel Texan already. All right, let's see the heat that's in Japan real quick. Tokyo, sure. Oh, baby. Let's go to China, check out their radio. All right, never mind. It's this one. Real estate. I have no idea what's going on. But honestly, you and your friends going around the world picking radio stations that are either funny, got some weird music, or have a different vibe, that's easily something I could see doing with my friends. But that's just one part of the TuneIn application, because you can listen to podcasts with friends. Now, I'm not talking about normal podcasts, right? Like, I listen to the Waveform podcast as I clean around the house all by myself. But when I'm with the boys, I want to listen to complete brain rot podcasts that just spew absolute nonsense garbage. And that's where I look for the Luke Belmar Datasets podcast, where you have hours and hours of complete nonsense, like why weekends are for the weak. And if you ever followed this advice, you'd probably burn yourself out and make 2 videos a week instead of 3. Oh, I'm projecting here, am I? Anyways, if you make the grave mistake of listening to this, you have the ability to change the speed. So if you can't stand it anymore and you just want to get through the podcast, you could turn it on 3 times and get through it. But anywho, gamers, I know what I'm going to do next. I'm going to find every single piece of hustle culture podcast on this app and listen to it so that my brain gets completely rotted. Anyways, bye-bye. I love you. Mwah!